What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We've got Jay Niblick back with us today. Jay is the CEO of Wizehire, and so we're talking about all things hiring and building teams and personalities and all kinds of fun stuff where we've got questions about how and why you should hire an ISA. We'll talk about some best practices on that. We've got questions on whether you should hire a showing assistant, how to do that, whether you should hire someone to do your marketing materials, or whether you should do them yourself with things like apps. So we've got a bunch of stuff. As always, Jay is a ton of fun, and so I know we're going to laugh a lot and deliver some content. If the pre-show is any indication, we're going to have a good time on this show, as we always do. First of all, the junior grandmaster himself is in the co-pilot seat where you so belong. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
Orale Vatet. I mean, Vato. Hey.
Okay.
Dude, okay, so first off, a couple of things right off the bat is my good friend Gail, hashtag BFF, she sent me another send-out card here, picture of me with the word hero above it, which I thought was hilarious and also very humbling. She wrote in the back, Greg, you are my hero, BFF. This picture is light, love, and fun. Keep making a difference in others by sharing your genius. She called me genius. I'm really proud of you. Expect success in all that you do, Gail. So, Gail, send-out card strikes again. What an awesome, humbling card to receive. And it's incredible. And Matt has a card, from Gail?
Yes, from Gail as well. There you go. Thank you, Gail. We appreciate it. We love to send out cards.
Do.
Yes. Matt, continue to inspire those around you, and especially yourself. The more you learn, the more you share, the better we become. Expect success. So, yeah, Gail, love the cards. Absolutely cool. Awesome. They go right up on the shelf, which we appreciate.
They do, and I want you guys to hear something else. So I found this group called Brass Attack. It's a full instrumental group of people on Facebook, and they take like mainstream songs and then they put them into a full brass, orchestra, and it's amazing how cool of the stuff that they produce. And I was talking to Caitlin, our producer. She reached out to me about getting my Mornings with McDaniel show turning into a podcast, and so she's helping me do that. And I showed her the song that I liked, and so she reached out to Brass Attack. Dude, They reached back, and they're giving us the MP3 of their cover of this song, and they're super pumped that we're going to use it as the intro song for the new podcast. And I'm like, holy shit, how cool is that, dude?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll put the link for the Facebook thing here in the notes so you guys can take a look at it. But just strive for things. Ask people for help. Like Jay, we reached out to Jay and Wizehire to help us grow our team, and we have 30 respondents so far, Jay? Some really good ones, and it's because I reached out to you. I mean, it's just reach out for help, guys. I mean, Jay's going to give you a ton of stuff.
Yeah. That is really cool. You don't have to use the cover anymore then, do you?
Mm-hmm. No.
That's a lot.
Well, speaking of helping us out on the show, Jay, officially welcome. And for those that might not have caught one of your previous episodes, catch people up. Just let them know where you are, what you do.
Wizehire, we help everybody in real estate hire great talent. So Wizehire, we like to joke that we weren't wise enough to spell it correctly. That's where we specialize. Agents is obviously where the majority of the folks are looking for us, but ISAs, we'll talk about today, second fastest growing trend. Well, probably tied. Agents, you name it, whatever, admins, roles, ops, TCs, we're here to help.
That's so true.
Well, when you say it's the second fastest growing trend, I mean, are you talking about looking for ISAs creeping up there almost as popular as just looking for agents in general to join your team?
Outside sales. That's the other big trend. People are giving up on waiting forever to find a really good agent that can hunt, because that's a small percentage of the existing agents that are out there.
Right.
So both that one item, I'm just getting into the topic, and we'll unpack this here in a little bit, but the problem is it's the cause for both of them. People are looking for ISAs or outside sales because of the existing population of agents that exist in the country. The majority of them are not great hunters. So it's two different paths to fix that problem. Screw it. Gotcha. Let me just get an outside sales professional she's out there killing it every day, selling on the road, or let me get an ISA who can do the heavy lifting and hand it off to a buyer's agent to then just take it to the goal line.
Okay, which I like that. I want to talk about that model. So we'll get into that when we jump into the content. But there was a question that caught my eye that I wanted to kick off the show with that I think would be really helpful to a lot of folks. So this question is from Sarah Desamore, I believe is the pronunciation. We'll see. It says, I'm looking to hire a showing agent to help me show my listings. Does that person have to be licensed? And is there a way to hire someone who isn't? Greg, let's start with you because that's more of a I want to talk about the question of whether they can do it unlicensed first before we get into ways that they can hire a showing agent in general.
Check with your state, check with your board, check with everyone in your specific area on the legalities of if they have to be licensed or not. Here in California, they do have to be licensed. That is taking an agent action, so they are doing real estate business action, so they do have to be licensed here. And you would want them to be licensed for the most part, because when you get into a property to show homes, and if they can't answer, let's say hypothetically they don't have to be licensed, right? But then they ask about the square footage, they ask about the price, they ask about things that the licensed agent can't answer. Like, I don't know. I can't answer that. That's a great question. The agent will get back to you. What's the point? It's like having a third tit. There's no point. I mean, Jesus. I mean, if you want someone to sell the house, sell the house. Don't just sit there and be a door monkey and have them open up a door. Have them be a licensed agent. Stay within the the letter of the law. Just do something. That's what I would do. I would not hire anyone that's not licensed. Jay, what about you?
No, I mean, I would hire like an iPad carrier. So they actually unlocked the door and then just held an iPad with my face on it wherever I was. So, they're just walking around holding me virtually up. Because otherwise, what are you going to do? You open the door and just go sit in a chair in the front yard? I'm not allowed to enter the house in Pennsylvania. Yeah. I can't do anything. How long has it been on the market? Are they motivated? We see a big trend in the country is everybody in the office is getting licensed. Receptionists, they're getting licensed because thinking they do good by answering, oh, yes, I know those sellers are very excited about selling. I know they're very motivated. Boom, you just crossed the line. You just gave away information that is talking about the mindset of a buyer or a seller, and you're acting like an agent, and that one thing right there could get you flagged. So I definitely would not, and I don't know a state that does, to be honest with you. We work in all states.
So let's talk about, let's just assume they have to be licensed. Let's talk about how they can find somebody licensed to be a showing agent and a resource to them, given the fact that most likely they're going to have to be licensed, and even if it wasn't a requirement in your state, you'd want them to be licensed anyway. So, Greg, what would you do to find someone that is licensed already that can be a showing agent for you?
In all honesty, not to make this a full-on plug, I would hire a Wizehire to go do the heavy lifting and vet them out, because I've made so many hiring decisions in real estate that have been poor decisions. I would honestly go hire you guys, Jay and your company, to do it for me, so that when I get someone in front of me that is a very good thumbs up possibility, at least I know they're going to be a potentially good fit for my culture, for my team, work ethic, all these things of which people can interview really well, but then when it comes to actually showing up, totally different story. And I'm seriously, I would just hire you guys. I mean, I've hired some real duds. Real duds in the past. But one thing I would look for is someone who's a self-starter, independent, is hungry, someone who's knowledgeable, someone who lives a healthy, active lifestyle, because they're going to be more energetic and be more willing to get up and go do things in the beginning to get going, to be a showing agent, and then graduating to full agent. I'll look for someone who's a good cultural fit for me in my group, because bringing someone on your team is like getting married, essentially. I mean, you're going to be around these people almost as much as you're going to be around your spouse and your kids, or at least a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split. So you're going to be around them a lot. You want to make sure that they're going to be good. Jay, do you guys recommend doing trial hires? So 30, 60, 90 days and then reassess at the end of it? Or do you just kind of, with your program and system, do you guys just vet them up front and say, okay, with a blank amount of percentage, these guys are going to be a good fit?
I like putting everybody on a 90-day probationary period just to get started. I mean, we can do a lot to reduce the chances of hiring duds, getting a better fit, making a better match. But there's so many variables that will never be quantified. The personality things that we can still not measure ourselves, backgrounds, lifestyles, attitudes, cultural beliefs, all the character. People are always like, can you measure character? I'm like, if you can get a universally agreed upon definition of it, we might be able to start. But no, it's usually under a much bigger umbrella of all these other things. As a business owner, 90 days is just smart. I think it's good to set the expectation that we like you, we think you have great potential, you will probably like us, we hope and believe, but let's go into this dating and make sure that it does work when we're actually field testing it.
Yeah, otherwise
it's smart business.
Yeah, otherwise you're proposing marriage on the first date, which And anyone who goes on a first date and someone says, I think we should get married, how fast can I run for the front door?
That's exactly how I Met Your Mother, the series starts. All right.
Yeah.
It's funny though, like Greg, I know what you're talking about. Like when you want somebody that's like hungry and self-starting and yada yada yada, and you're thinking of someone that you want to have all the time. I would challenge you on the fact that a showing agent ideally probably isn't someone you want around all the time. You might want somebody that just kind of steps in, they have their own thing going, and they can open a few doors here and there when you're too busy. If that's the case, that gives you some more flexibility. You can just hire a high people person, and somebody who will comply with the way that you want things done. So if you don't want them to write an offer, they won't write an offer. If you want them to, they will, and then turn the rest over to you. You can get away with somebody who's just a nice person who works part-time or has the time, and they're not uber successful in their own business, and they're not pushing in the sense that you're going to put training into them, and then 3 months later they're too busy to even be your showing agent anymore. So a showing agent, like, you could literally hire someone that's just a nice person who enjoys doing it part-time, and just throw them. I think on Jeff Cohn's team, they have like junior agents within their team, and that's kind of the role that they play at first, and especially in the first 3 months while they're getting going, is just being a showing agent to the other agents on the team. And I think they throw them like $25 for the first house they show, and $10 or $15 per house after that. So if they can make it, if they show like 4 homes an hour, they'll make $50-$60 an hour, which to them is worth a little bit of a drive, and heading out. But they're not giving up a huge portion of the commission, and most of the time they can write up an offer if they need to, but most of the time they'll turn it back over to the agent to write the offer, so the agent keeps their full commission and just pays out a fee for them to literally just go and be a lockbox monkey.
Door monkey, yeah.
Door monkey, yeah. And so if that's the case, and that's all you need, and that's a lot easier to hire from, and you don't have to hire for a culture fit necessarily, as long as they're a nice person that gets along and, treats your clients well and just obeys whatever system that you've got set up. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that there is an alternative kind of way to do that, and a way to structure it is that kind of flat fee per, like a higher fee for the first home, a flat fee for every home they show after that, and that's it. Like, you don't pay by the hour, you don't give up a huge portion of your commission, you just pay them that way. So that seems to work pretty well for Jeff Cohn's team. So if you're on a team or you're not, but you want to kind of set up that kind of arrangement with somebody, you can find somebody that'll be willing to take that.
One program, by the way, it can be where you've got agents that are either part-time, and that's great. They want to keep that way. I also predict that in the future, you're going to see these people work more like employees. Teams are going to basically employ people and share commissions, even the agents. Yeah. My prediction is everybody will go to an actual business, and the agents will have a W-4, showing agents will have a W-4.
I, for one, am shocked. We might turn real estate into an actual business with actual workers and employees, and yeah.
Absolutely. And a sales team that's actually feeding things to support, and specialists. And but we do see people that also use that. So you're very, very correct there. But the other way we see it used is as a feeder funnel. It's the new agent who's just gotten their license, hasn't quit their job yet, is looking for part-time feeder work that maybe will show up. They can't take the leap. They can't go from what I'm doing 100% to a full-time buyer agent because they don't have enough resources to last the 6 months or 9 months. And that's a really good model. You get to know them. You get to lightly step into dating casually, in that same analogy. And once they show that they've learned enough and you like them, you can move them up into more of a buyer agent role. So it's a constant turnover in the showing agent role too. But boy, it's like the mailroom. I don't think I put a job up that says door monkey, but it's entry level. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, there's no better way. You can slowly step into this. You don't have to know a whole lot. You're basically able to open houses and point to things and show them around and answer questions. And
for a lot of people, that's their favorite part. That's why they wanted to get into real estate to begin with. That's not always a good thing, but it does tend to be a lot of people's favorite part of being in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
What, showing houses?
It's also the lowest paying part. Yeah, showing houses.
Showing houses, it's fun in the beginning. then it gets repetitive and it gets annoying because, the girl, she wants to, the mama usually wants to see 99% of everything that's on the market. And I've found, now I'm not being sexist, I'm just saying personality traits, is going to dictate this, and that's what the disc comes from. But one of the partners wants to see everything on the market. The other one's like being drug around like a cat on a leash, hating every second of it. And so, I mean, I think if you get a good enough showing assistant and you get someone out there that can ask the right questions and really kind of drill down, they can give you good feedback while you're working with additional clients, negotiating contracts, working on requests for repairs, doing everything else you need to do, going on listing appointments, while you're still having the opportunity to get more deals in the pipeline. But I want to talk about the potential effect of the feelings of the buyers. I've never used a showing agent. But how does that feel for the buyer? Do they feel like they're just being passed off like a piece of meat? Or does it feel like they are actually, because they're not feeling like the agent actually wants to be a part of them and go through this journey with them? I mean, has there been blowback on that with Jeff's team at all, or what?
No, I haven't seen like a blow. It's really all in terms of how you set it up. Like if you've never used a showing agent before and you take somebody on as a client under the expectation that you're going to drive them all over God's creation, you're going to show them every home on the market and all this stuff, and then, they call you up and they want to go out on a random Thursday, and you're like, let me see if Jerry can take you guys out. Like, yeah, they're going to be surprised. If you set it up in the buyer consult as like, we're going to show this many homes, we're going to only pull the cream of the crop of the market for what you're looking for. And then if there's anything you want to see beyond that, or if I'm not available or whatever, I have a showing agent who's available to open any doors that you'd like to see. His name is such and such. And like, if there comes a time when he needs to step in, then we'll introduce you guys and he'll meet you out at a certain property. Like if you position that right up front, you get way less pushback. It's all about just like how it's presented, how the handoff goes, and whether they're expecting it and whether they treat you like a professional. That's part of why I'm such a huge fan of whether you make them sign an agreement or not. It's still why I'm a huge fan of a buyer consultation appointment before you go out and show any homes, if you can pull it off, because it sets you up as the professional and it sets you up differently so that you can do different things like that, like using a showing assistant. And you just immediately break that paradigm of being a door monkey in their eyes. If they think of you as a door monkey, yeah, they're not going to want you to substitute you with a different door monkey.
You're the team. You get the buyer support team. And that includes your buyer's agent, specialist, and their assistant.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
that question. Right from the beginning.
That's right. All right, let's talk about this one. This is a good question. This is from Tatiana. Question is, did you hire someone to make your advertising materials, things like flyers, social media marketing, website, etc., or do you use apps to create them? This is a very interesting question because a lot of agents are in the position where they know they need marketing materials. They know they need flyers for their listings. They know that they need, stuff to post on social media and all this stuff. And there are apps or things to make those things easier for agents to do themselves. I, on the whole, would recommend that most agents do not do those things themselves because they tend to be very bad at it. But if you're also bad at hiring, you're also going to hire someone who's very bad at whatever you're wanting them to do. So it kind of depends on how good you are and what you need. But I'm curious on your perspective on it, Jay, just looking at the teams. I've got an opinion on what I've seen most teams do in terms of marketing. Whether it works or not is debatable, but what have you seen teams do in terms of hiring their marketing people or hiring a marketing person that has worked?
It's evolutionary. So, I mean, it really depends on the size of the team and the frequency of the need. So the smaller teams, the younger teams, they'll do it transactional. Apps, so you have apps, you have a professional transactional, and then like an actual employee. Right. That's the evolution, the progression. Apps is on the bottom, lowest price, lowest results. You get what you pay for. Right. Depends on what you need. Most of them are jumping in at that transactional level where they want to just hire a contractor to help make the apps. And the prices out there are competitive. There's so many of them that can do this stuff that they're fantastic. You don't have to pay exorbitant prices, and it is transactional. Hire somebody, help you design the stuff. It makes a huge difference. There's nothing worse than a guy that says, send me over my stuff at john@aol.com. That's my business email address, and here's my website. You can see like Wix or whatever the thing in the corner is. It just makes a really bad impression.
Okay.
If you're doing enough of this, start to consider one of the jobs that we see very popular as a social media marketing coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And that's somebody who can do all of that. They can come in and you can even have that as a part-time, but it's not just about how do I design the website and get the marketing collateral if I want to have flyers or something like that, but how do I start dripping that out into the social media world? How do I have that same person who can help me make a face on Facebook and get a brand established and start to connect with people? The full-timers will actually work as your marketing representative. They'll be responding to Facebook comments in your stead. People think they're talking to John Doe, the team leader whose name and brand and picture is there. And it's funny, I had an agent that actually was selling my house back in Knoxville, had one full-time, a social media coordinator, and kept forgetting that she'd been in the business for 40 years. And so she wasn't terribly social media savvy, and kept forgetting that this person represented her as her on Facebook. And so she'd see people out and about, and they'd go, "Oh, yeah, I thought that thing you said about this was so hilarious." And she would go, "I didn't say anything." And the social media person, "Yeah, you did. It was me."
Yeah, exactly.
And so if you're starting out, I don't know that apps make sense. Look at an individual transactionally. They're creative. They're brilliant at all that stuff. They're worth the money.
Yeah, I would agree.
Why not just go hire Gene Volpe?
I would say find somebody when you look at. I would say look for somebody that also does social media stuff. A pure graphic designer, not so much. If you can find someone who does that and will work on social media marketing as well, that's the ideal person, because you'll be able to grow into that relationship with them more as you need it.
Yeah. I mean, you can go to Fiverr.com, you can go to Upwork, you can go find these people that you can create a relationship with that are professionals and can get it done. I mean, I know that I'm not a good writer, so there's not a chance that I would sit there and try to write out a long blog post. It would make absolutely no sense. Like a third grader wrote it. So, I would go hire someone like Matt Johnson on Upwork, who will charge me an exorbitant amount of money, but it'll be worth it because I won't have to take my time and go relearn a skill, which I have no desire to learn. I just want my freaking post. That's all I care about. Here's your $20 or $40 or whatever it's going to be for 20 minutes of work. Thank you very much. I'll take this and I'll go post it up and reuse it multiple times. Or, like I said, go hire Gene Volpe, the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja, and let him run it. He's got a great back-end system that does all kinds of, really cool stuff. Go check it out. It blew me away the first time I was looking at it. So don't try to be something that you're not. That's what I would say.
Yeah, agreed. And I like that perspective of hiring someone transactionally before you jump in deeper into a relationship where you're paying for their time or paying them to kind of be on staff or on retainer or whatever. That's exactly how Jeff Cohn hired who today is his operations director. He was just the marketing guy. Like, he took pictures of the listings, took some video, did some marketing, like set up their website, yada, yada, ends up traveling all across the country with Jeff to a bunch of different team offices and then becomes his right-hand guy. So you never know when you're going to find that person. But yeah, paying them transactionally first.
Like I have Miss Veronica Jones, who is my girl, my sister from another mister, and she is my ISA. And she's starting to call through my database, and it took a long time to kind of find the right fit for the ISA work. When we were talking about transactional stuff, and we're paying her per transaction, a certain amount of money for every person she brings in and we close on. And the more that she hustles, what she hustles really hard right now, but the more she hustles, the more money she'll make, and the more money we'll save ultimately. Because if you're paying someone on an hourly basis, well, they could be on Facebook, they could be jerking around, saying they're doing something, but they're actually doing something. I mean, we had an issue a long time ago, Matt, with one of our first employees that was logging in a ton of hours. We couldn't figure out where the hell all those hours were going. We're like, what the hell is going on with this human being? This is not making any sense.
Well, the good news is that the days of that are coming to an end for various reasons, but mostly because now we have the ability to only pay for results.
Yeah.
Right. So we're paying less for time. Right, and we're paying more for results. And if you don't produce the results, we don't care how much time you put in. Like, I don't care how much time. Like, if you think about the staff in my podcast business, I don't care how much time they necessarily spend floating around on Facebook. Because what I'm paying for is, did you get the job done? Like, did you get the podcast episodes out? Is this edited? Is that edited? Like, for some of them, I'm only paying by like the number of episodes they've done, right? So it doesn't matter what else they do with their time. For some, for the ones that I'm paying by the hour, I still know because I've done every single role within my team. I know when things are getting off and when I'm paying too many hours for something. And either we need to expand and get up to maybe they're doing something they're just not as fast as I was. And that's an issue of repetition. But I know like when there's too many hours being put to something. And because I'm paying one person for a specific set of results that I want, it's very different than what we used to do, where you bring someone on and you pay them part-time or full-time. And then it's up to us to make sure they're like spending their time actually working for us. Like, I don't know how much, like, that's going to go away. Let's put it that way.
So, Jay, number why I always talk about just hiring you guys, Wizehire to do the hiring for us. Years and years ago, we hired these 4 guys right out of high school. They're going to be going into college the next summer, go do door knocking for us. Well, they were just nice guys. They were friends of our past clients. These jerkwads. We would give them 100 flyers. Then they would go out. They would dump the flyers in the garbage, go smoke a bowl, and then go sit in the movie theaters all day long, and then come back after throwing a little water on themselves, pretending they're all sweaty all day. I'm like, you jackasses. And we couldn't figure out we weren't getting any results. I'm like, gosh damn, only one kid. I'm like, you guys are doing 400 doors a day, and you're telling me you can't get anybody? This is not right. And so we started looking into them, following them, and we found them what they were doing. But I would have avoided that if I just hired you.
Oh, that's funny. Exactly.
Well, we look for the police, So sure we filtered those out.
Is it Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yeah.
Is that the reference? Okay.
Spicoli.
I've never seen it, but I knew the name. Okay. So I wanted to get into go ahead, Jay.
Real quick on hiring, that's the incentive, though. That's a great example of if you incentivize somebody to put in hours, not results, well, they come back with empty flyers in hand. ISAs, same thing. You can't incentivize them or monetize their commission by how many calls you make.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're looking at the dialer and you're like 250 calls in one day, but they literally ring a number, leave a voicemail that says, hey, call us back. Click. Hey, call us back. And it's not even appointments kept, because we've seen people just putting, shit work in at 3:00 on Wednesday. There's no qualification. The person, they're still a suspect. I mean, they haven't been worked at all. And they're like, I made an appointment at 3, and the person's probably not likely to show. And if they do, they're like, wait, are you my leasing agent? I'm looking for a rental, So you got to monetize it on, the incentivization is on how many kept appointments, not scheduled, and what percentage of those close.
Okay.
Versions.
Yeah.
I don't like the models that say, well, you get paid when they close, because I would feel unfair as an ISA, because I don't control everything from after I make the appointment, and the buyer agent might suck. They might screw this up, and, So I like a nice bump if they close, but the majority of it can't be all on, hey, I handed them to you. Good luck. Please take care of my commission, because it's all in your hand.
But I'm sure Veronica does not feel that way about me and my team. I'm sure she does not have those thought patterns at all. Big V, I got your back, girl. Mm-hmm.
Right.
She's like, I am renegotiating my contract immediately.
All right. Here's a question from Dave Nelson. This gets into kind of the meat of what we wanted to cover today. So Dave says, hey, we're hiring an IRSA, and I'm wondering the best way to have them listen to our lead gen calls so that they can hear the person on the other end of the line without having to put it on speakerphone. We use Mojo. Anybody got tricks of the trade? So Greg, just real quick on the technical question of this, if you were training an ISA in person, they're showing up to an office with you, you want to be able to use Mojo. You want them to be able to hear the other person on the other end of the line so they don't just hear your voice, but you don't want to put it on speakerphone. What's your best recommendation? I've got an idea. What would you say?
Something maybe you could do is, if you wanted to get a headphone splitter, like you and I use, plug it into the bottom of it, let them listen on the headphones. You just call through here on your normal phone, like most people do. That'd be one of the easiest and cheapest ways of going about it. I really don't know why you wouldn't want to put them on speaker unless you're in a crowded room or somewhere else where someone can hear something. But I just do a headphone splitter.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing. So there's another question here from Sep Niakin. I'm sure I butchered that name, but the question is great. It says, I'm looking to hire an ISA that can do mostly seller and some buyer calls and be fully integrated into my team and processes. Has anyone had luck finding someone like this that'd be willing to share their hiring process? And this is the one I thought was really good for you, Jay. So let's do a little reality check on hiring ISAs, and what does it take to hire somebody that you can actually fully integrate into your team?
I think it's the ultimate objective is to get somebody who's fully integrated in. A lot of them sometimes want to do part-time. And again, it's what's right for your practice. If you're small and you don't have 8 hours a day for somebody to be calling 150 FISBOs, then, or you don't have Sync feeding you 3,000 leads, okay, you start out small. Ultimately, if you're going to grow this business, if you're really building a business, not just playing at it, then you're going to want to get to the point to it where the person moves into a full-time role and they're living on that. I think looking at anything like that when you would hire them is you look beyond just what are the traits for the job. Do they fit your culture? Mm-hmm. They should probably meet more than one person on the team in the interview process because ultimately you want to move them to someone who's integrated into everything you're doing. Even if it's remote, we're 100% remote. But you'll have 4 interviews with us by the time you're hired at Wizehire. You've talked with a cultural fit. You've met other people on the team you're going to be working on. You've done practical exercises to see if you can actually do it. Dale Archdeacon is a guy that does a lot of great work on ISA training and onboarding.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. And he's got a lot of great resources and free content on his website. But that realistic, here's a script I'm going to send you over after the 5-minute, 10-minute phone debrief. So we've got, let's say on Wizehire, we're going to use us to look for the right personality. Maybe you're looking for someone who's got a telemarketing background, has been an ISA, inbound, outbound, something like that. Next, moving into, let's do a 10-minute, 15-minute phone debrief to see if I like you. Mm-hmm. ISAs, that's all they have is their voice. More than any other job, that phone screen is probably more representative of their ability than any other role. You can tell right then and there, how did they do? We like recommending after that, say, I love what I heard. I'm going to schedule a 40-minute, 40-minute phone interview with you later this week. I'm going to send you a script. And just any script that you have, and again, Dale's a great example of this. He's got them up on his website. I want you to study it. You don't have to know anything about real estate, but it's pretty straightforward. I think the one that we've seen is a FISBO script. Hey, I'm reaching out. How's it going? Seeing if there's anything we can do to help. But there's 4 or 5 bullet points, 6 bullet points. The only thing he's interested in is how's he flow through it? How does she talk through it? Does she present herself well? Are there any objectives that she wouldn't handle? And do you let me get off the line before I've finished 5 or 6 of those questions? Or do you just take the first objection and go, okay, well, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Or shut down. So personality, it goes back to why we see this. We talked about it in the beginning. Okay. If you look at a football field or a soccer field or anything, most of the agents we see that get their license are exactly what you just said earlier, Matt. Unfortunately, it's a huge part of why people got into it. I love houses. I want to show all the different styles. I'm something of an interior designer, and I like the beauty of this, and I want to show them how all these things work. Mm-hmm. They can make it from, if the end zone on one side is touchdown, so here's where you actually close. A lot of them never make it past the 50-yard line to go get the ball. Say the ball's sitting in the other end zone. That's the suspect, the prospect. Okay. You got to be able to go get it and, run it all the way back for a touchdown. They can get about halfway. They just are not great prospectors. They're not great hunters. They're not aggressive. They're not proactive. In disc, they're not a super high D. They're more of an IS with a 40 D. It's pretty average. Yep. They look a lot like a showing assistant that will grow up into a buyer's agent. Yeah. So ISAs, people are finding this out. People are like, well, they keep running into this wall at the 50-yard line. They're not changing. And the majority of agents we've studied, tens of thousands of them, 60, 70%, look more like that. So there's something about the industry that attracts that personality and says, you will love it here. And they don't do a good job in the schools of saying, you realize day one, this is a sales role. You don't come in here if you don't like doing all of these activities and prospecting and cold calling and, handling rejection.
Yeah, they're 100% focused on exactly the wrong things, which is just keeping the broker out of legal hot water. That's 100% what the schools do.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. So people are realizing that are running these teams that these people just stop here and the ball's laying right there, just down there on the 1-yard line. Somebody go get it. So ISAs are being brought in to get that ball, pick it up, and carry it to the 50-yard line and then hand it off.
Mm-hmm.
And that agent will take that, and the first thing they have to do is to say, let's sign a contract. But it's 2:30 on a Wednesday. They've already been put on the calendar, and they're sitting in the office going, hi, let's meet the buyer specialist. And Mark walks in and says, hi, I'm your buyer specialist. Like, nice to know you. There's not much of a sale there.
Nice to know you.
Yeah, of a sale. And so that's why ISAs are showing up.
Mm-hmm.
They're a much higher I. They're an IS. Their D goes up, though. Their D's up in that 60 range or so. Still not hunter-gatherer-ish listing agent, but they're fine with dialing. They don't want to take it any further than that. They get to the 50-yard line, they're tired. Like, let me just go back and pick up another ball. I want a shuttle run all day long.
I find myself sometimes like in that same position as well. I mean, not all the time, but I do find it going out there, and it is kind of fun. For me, it's the hunt and gather. It's like I want to hunt you down. I want to see if I can convert you. I want to see if I can get you to the next point. It's a game for me. Every open house I do, every phone call I do, it is constantly a game. It's a cat and mouse game. Am I good enough to get your number to get to the next level? And I was at the open house yesterday on Father's Day, and I didn't think I was going to get anybody to come through the open house. Had one of my best turnouts at that property. We just had a minor price reduction. I had like 12 groups come through, so really, really good. And naturally, always, like it was the last person coming through. I started to shut down some of the lights, and as all of you agents know, those are the people that always turn out to be the buyers. And was able to, talk to them. Had a really good conversation with them, and then I converted her and her husband into becoming a buyer for me. So I'm going to get them through the process of everything, but it was that hunt. Like, okay, it's the last person that's coming through the open house. Like, okay, I'm going to hunt you down, and I'm going to watch for when we start twitching in a good or a bad way, and then I'm going to go in for the kill and get your number and get your email, and I'm going to work with you. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, on this one, but is the mindset or is not the mindset majority of the ISAs? It is the hunter-gatherer, right? I mean, not completely, but it is about getting that to the next level.
Yeah, it's in between listing agent, really super aggressive hunter-gatherer, pure DI, which doesn't ever want to. They're exactly what you just described. I want that hunt, and as soon as I kill it, okay, I've started to lose interest in it.
Exactly.
The ISAs, the buyer agents do normally over here, and I'm making some really big generalities. Everybody's unique and different, but trending being what it is, there's some pretty safe statements here. Buyer agents typically are on the opposite end of that spectrum, not as hunter-gatherer related, much more social, and they want to create longer relationships and are fine showing 35 houses to the Joneses. And the ISA somewhere in the middle, closer, on the front end. Listing agents oftentimes will pick up the ball in the end zone all day long, but they don't want to go past 25 yards. They're like, oh my God, you had 3 houses. Are you done?
So they do that on HGTV. Okay, so you get to pick 3 houses and then you buy one of them. So we can't, the HGTV model. But I'll tell you one thing. Like, I think I may have been an ISA in my past life, because when I get the client, I'm like, and I'm bored. But the hunt is the fun part.
Why it's nice. Get them qualified, get them set up, and boom, put them on somebody's desk at 3:00 next Tuesday.
Here, you deal with this from now on. This is your problem. I got to go.
That's right.
That's why you have Eileen.
Yeah, exactly. And she will.
Those agents love that. The other agents love that, because it's like, oh, give me. Yeah, I'll take them. And, they're going to nurture them and hold them close.
Oh, yeah.
Kiss them and call them George. And,
Well, and that is the dysfunction, is that's what people honestly expect when they get into real estate. And that's our fault as an industry for not correcting that immediately and right up front, like when they first come through a school. But that's kind of what they expect. They expect to be like, they join a brokerage or they join a team, and they're expecting someone hands off to them, people who just want to see houses and do paperwork, as if that's what an agent does.
Or that brand on the front of the 3-story building right next to the main street is going to suck in so many walk-ins and so many calls, and there's going to be so much business coming in. Mm-hmm. It's a little twisted because it's a franchise. The 95% of all new startup businesses in the United States fail to survive past 5 years. 95% of franchises do survive past 5 years. It's the most successful business model in the history of mankind, outside of prostitution. And
well, it is franchising, essentially. This is my corner. So we're like real estate. Still real estate agents.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing. When you get a franchise, you get a SOAP log, a standard operating procedure manual. You go to classes, you get all of this training. And the franchisee owner, Remax, Keller Williams, whatever, they get that. The broker of record does have to go through all that. They then push the same benefits of a franchise down to the next level, which is come be a realtor for us. We're a franchise. It's the brand. And that's why franchises work. The brand and the knowledge. We've screwed everything up. Trust me, we now know 100% what works if you just repeat. And so those guys are more oftentimes project manager personality types than entrepreneurial. But it falls down when you say
buy into franchises.
Yeah. This same brand will benefit you in the same way. And they come in and they go, brand, without any of the support. The other half of it, I'm not going to put you through a class because you're a contractor. You're a 1099. Yep. I'm not supposed to be not paying taxes and then put you through a 3-month training program teaching you how to do everything. Wait a minute. So people show up going, this big, wonderful name will save me. And they don't get anything other than the brand, which just gives credibility for the work they have to do.
Yeah, which I think is one of the dysfunctions of recruiting only within the real estate industry, as in recruiting people that have, like especially established agents who are kind of mid-level or lower than that kind of performers that have been in the business for long enough, few years, long enough to establish some bad habits. Like those are very hard to convert them into higher producing agents unless you just literally feed them appointments and force them to go on the appointments. If you do that, if you can do that, you might be okay. But yeah, we because we are also looking for a shortcut in the way that we hire, we also tend to recruit people that are within real estate. And like you said, 70% of real estate is made up of people who got into it probably for the wrong reasons, or at least the wrong expectations. And then we're recruiting in that same pool of people.
Yeah, I think that's why ISAs are popping up, because they realize, hey, wait a minute, the majority of the people that are out here are interested in joining me because they're not able to make it on their own. I can't bring them on and just expect them to then make it on their own under me. What's the difference? Some of the most frustrating customers we have over at Wizehire are the ones who and I'll be honest with you, they're lazy. They show up and they go, I want to spend money for a month, and I want you to find me somebody who can hit the ground running. I don't have time to train them. I don't have time to onboard them. I need somebody who can just start crushing it tomorrow. And I don't ever understand, why the hell would I come to you on your team and give you more of my commissions if I'm already out here kicking ass? Yeah. If I'm hitting the ground running, I'm making sides, I'm making money, why do I need you again?
Yep. Yes, exactly.
Why, it just doesn't work.
Well, looking at it from our perspective. We're not looking at it from theirs.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon. People are like, I don't want to mess with that, and they'll sound lazy on the calls. I don't want to mess with it. I don't have time to mess with it. I'm not interested in doing any of that. I just want someone to take the extra leads I have and run with them. Well, I get it. That's a pure contractor. I don't want to learn anything about it. I just want you to come out and fix the pipes. You better know everything. I'll meet you at the door and say, all right, it's out back. Go figure it out. I don't even need to look at it. Just tell me what the bill is. But if you're building a team, you be a broker if you're going to be that way. We talked about this on the last call. Teams are not mini brokers. You can't act like a broker and say, hey, good luck.
Yep.
Building a team,
100% agree.
You better stop and realize I'm going to have to invest in these people. 9 out of 10 agents fail to survive the first 2 years. On teams, we see about a 30% attrition rate, maybe 40, depending, somewhere in there, which means you're going from a 90% failure rate to 30% failure rate. You don't get that acting like the 90% failure rate companies that don't do anything to support them, don't help nurture. If you want that 30% failure rate, 70% of them stay instead of 10 and succeed and deliver to the bottom line, top line. You have to be careful about who you pick, and you have to take time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
set expectations.
Set expectations, exactly. And that's why, I've always, Greg and I have a little bit different perspective on what somebody should do when they first jump in the business. Greg feels like they should attempt to hit the ground running, see if they can do it before they go join a team. I would rather see them go join a team immediately because odds are they need the support of a team. Now, they may be that rare exception who's like Greg, who did hit the ground running, can hit the ground running, does go out there and is that hunter-gatherer type. But like you said, they're just not a significant portion of the population, and definitely not a significant portion of the people who are drawn to real estate, who voluntarily go get a license, go through real estate school, and come out the other side and go, okay, now what do I do? Like, there's a very small percentage of those people that have any sales training background and look at it as a sales job and have the right expectations to where they could even hit the ground running. But if you are, then maybe you don't need a team.
Exactly. It's demographics. I don't think we ever talked about this. Maybe I did show it on a screen one time, but it's psychographics, really. If you look at what's the makeup of the country, D, I, S, and C, and we're not talking about values, which makes it even more rare to find this person. S is the dominant personality trait in the majority of people. S is in first place. 50%, 40 to 50% of the population. S is first. I is second. C is third. And D is somewhere between 10 and 15% of the population. That's their first. So if you're really looking for a hunter-gatherer, you want a D and an I, but even in an ID. But if you just say, I need that D to be up there, 10 to 15% of the country has high D, first place. ISAs are a little easier because it's a mix of S and I or I and S, and that's the top two most dominant ones. It's the values that make them more difficult to find with a super high economic. But people just have to have proper expectations. I want this individual. Well, in the entire 300 million people in the country, 10% are ID. And let's be super generous and say, I can have an I then D, 20%, double it. Only 2 out of 10 people in the country anyway are going to have that fit that you're looking for, which is not only why I think we're attracting people as an industry, but that's the population. The majority of the country is going to be a first place S, and it's showing up in this job as well. And in any business or industry, it's not unusual.
Is it because of the way our culture has been for so long? Like, hey, just do this, show up at this time, you leave at this time. I mean, is it been bred into us, or is it something that is just innately a part of the human psyche?
America, as funny as this sounds, and most people would argue based on watching contemporary television and coverage and things, we are some pinched up, globally, we are some pinched up, still living off our Protestant ancestors that came over on the Mayflower and said, England is getting too out of control. We have to make sure that we've buttoned, to our ankles and our knees. And how dare we see your hair? I mean, it's modern day Saudi Arabia. It's very, very different. If you've ever been to Europe, they're so much more liberal, or Australia or China, even in some situations like Hong Kong. So yes, a large part of it is culturally. America has been raised with much more of an S attitude, compliance and regulations and conformity and let's get along.
Well, it keeps everybody in their lane so that nobody, God forbid, break out and be their own unique human being and think for themselves and follow their own wants, needs, and desires, because then that does not give the corporations and the big businesses the ability to control your mindset, control the outcome, because they're ultimately looking for their best interest, not yours. So they want to give you a safe working environment? Yeah, they want to give you a safe fucking working environment because they don't want you to leave. It's pretty simple.
Sometimes it's funny when fish don't understand the concept of water, because that's just like what?
Fish don't understand the concept of water. That's good.
Okay, what are you talking about? This thing that's so foundational to me that I never stop to really think about. Think about, though, if we were different creatures, evolutionarily we ended up somewhere else, corporations wouldn't look like they do. This has been a fact of humanity for a long time because corporations are hierarchical. There's one man on top. There's a couple of people underneath him who pretty much dominate everybody else. And then it kind of gets out to the vast majority, 80, 90% of the people in the company are subservient in older days. I mean, look at Ad Man and stuff like that, where it's a big business, and you've got a very 5-10% who are the leaders, and everybody else is subordinate.
That sounds like a pyramid scheme to me, Jay.
Right. But I can't have too many chiefs. too many chefs in the kitchen cooking. So we've built businesses that built. It's changing. It's changing slowly. You look at some of these flatter organizations, and Silicon Valley's done a lot of this to help it. Tech companies that have helped, where everything's much flatter and everybody's more independent. But that's still the majority. It's a big pyramid, and the vast majority of people that apply to become realtors they don't even notice they're doing it. It's like a blind spot or color vision. They're not aware that it's there, and they just think, I've been an employee for 20 years. Most of them aren't going to be able to break out of that and get into this entrepreneurial mode all of a sudden. I mean, it really is the E-myth.
It is 100%. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to be forced to because of just that's the way the culture is going and our work environment in general is going, which I think is a good thing. I'm actually really excited for it because I think it's going to be massively upheaval and a lot of change, but it's for the better. I think it's going to force people to be more entrepreneurial, think of themselves as a personal brand, think of themselves more as a business unto themselves. So it's kind of funny that real estate seems to be going the opposite direction. As usual, I think we're just so far behind the times that we'll catch up again. But on the other side, after like you mentioned, the culture has kind of raised us to be a little bit more reliant on a hierarchical structure and reliant on a boss and a structure that we plug into and all this stuff. I think we're about to come into, the next 10, 20 years where that's going to be a lot less in the culture outside of real estate is moving away from that. It's moving towards independent contractors, towards freelancers, towards small businesses and stuff like that. I think as that takes over and the bigger trend towards that will then eventually catch up back in real estate, and the people that are coming into real estate from the outside will be more entrepreneurial and hopefully will have a different set of expectations coming in.
And I think you're absolutely right, and I look forward to it, to be honest with you myself. But I'm an early adopter, and I love that. It's statistics. As you people go out to hire, 80% of the people that have become realtors are going to be 80% are going to have that ISC kind of mix. They're not the 10 or 15% that led the organizations that they started and then decided to get into real estate. 10%, 15% are going to be the higher DIs, the more entrepreneurial, the higher hunter-gatherer types. So when people who have their real estate license start applying, don't expect 80% of them to be able to hit the ground running like a high DI who's just as entrepreneurial and as a go-getter hunter as you are. Yep. You're working with people that had 10, 15, 20 years in a corporate environment. The broker becomes their de facto boss. I mean, they've just done this the whole life.
The whole mindset is wrong. Yeah.
So have proper expectations when you go out to hire. And that's why ISAs are becoming more popular. It's why outside sales are becoming more popular. The percentage of higher DIs when you say you're an outside salesperson goes up drastically because that title itself has already filtered out the people that say, I don't want to be splitting commissions for the majority of my role and out in the world, just not sure where I'm going by the seat of my pants. So if they've already had those jobs successfully and done them for years, and the reason they're coming to you is I want to be able to make more because my $3,000 widget I control the price on, and my market I don't control the price. So I want to sell a $300,000 widget. But that's a filter that if we also see it's the second one with the ISAs. A hell of a lot of people are going, wait, in that population of existing realtors, majority of them look more like employees. There's a population 100%. Out there established. I have been doing outside sales or field sales. That's already done the filtering of attracting a lot of dominant ID hunter-gatherer salespeople.
I was actually talking to one of the guys, my buddy Mike, who's actually listening right now. Mike and I were talking about this off air a couple of times because life is going to shift for him, and he's like, I'm just not comfortable with not being in the office. Like, I need to be in the office. And I'm like, well, why do you need to be in the office? Why don't we take baby steps? And so what he did is that, he took like a half a day in the office, then he did a half a day, went down to a sports bar and grabbed lunch and hung out and chatted with people. And he started to becoming more and more comfortable with this. Now that with his mindset is starting to shift, he's starting to be out of the office more and more, and it's becoming more and more natural for him not to be punching a time clock when he wants to go in, when he feels like he needs to go into the office. Because I fought that exact same mindset of like, I have to dress up. I have to go into an office. I have to be here. I have to leave at 6 and be here at 9, and then don't leave the office. And this is what you do. When in reality, this is your office. I mean, your smartphone is your office. You can do anything and everything you need from that and be totally fine. You could be driving down the 101 on the coast here and having a nice day out and about and stopping in and grabbing a lunch somewhere, or you could be sitting at a work center. You could be in an office. You could be anywhere. But I mean, if you start shifting your mindset slowly, don't have to do it all one big jump. Just start off small. Just take a half a day. Go work from a Starbucks like Matt does. Go try something different and see where it is and see how your mindset fills in. I guarantee you, you're going to, every time I'm out and about, I always get more work done when I'm not in the office. It's the weirdest thing. So, but it's baby steps. It's baby steps. It's not something you do right off the bat.
Yeah. It takes time. You got to have a big enough why in order to keep you propelled and moving forward. Greg, you were talking about that on our internal training for our team this morning, just how important it is to have your big why. I think that's what a lot of people are missing, is just that connection to what their big why is. That should be what keeps you moving forward every day, not showing up to an office and being around other people necessarily, although it doesn't. I mean, it's nice to be around the energy of other people that are doing it, but we shouldn't be relying on plugging into somebody else's structure just so that we just keep moving forward, Right. I think a lot of people unfortunately need that. Yeah,
they do, because they've been conditioned for that. When in reality, you can pull off of yourself as much as you want when it comes to your energy. You don't need to be pulling off other people. If you need it, you can do a video call. You can do a Facebook message video. You can do a conference call. You can do all kinds of stuff if you want to connect with other people, or actually go down and, God forbid, meet other people somewhere else. Maybe meet new people. I mean, think about it. Real estate offices are full of your competitors. They are. It's like I want to go for a nice leisurely swim in a piranha tank. That does not make a lot of sense.
All right, so let's wind this one down. Jay, how do people reach out and learn more about Wizehire, what you guys do, and potentially work with you?
I'll just come visit us. Wizehire. Like I said, not smart enough to spell it correctly. So wizehire.com. We've got the ability to set up chats over there. We can jump online with you real time right there. We can schedule phone calls. But I think whatever you need when it comes to finding talent in real estate, that's what we specialize in, and we're glad to see what we can do to help you guys if you've got any questions.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, guys, I hired them for my team. Why don't you hire them for your team?
That's right.
Legitimately.
And then Greg, as far as getting on a call with you to learn more about our team and what the heck we're doing over here, how do people do that and why?
Guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. If you see it on your screen, it is right there. Go to bookmcdaniel.com if you're listening to my lovely baritone voice on iTunes. You'll go listen to go book a time with me about EXP. If we brought value to you, if the show's brought value to you, or anything else has brought value to you, go just book a time. I mean, it's just 30 minutes of your day. See if it's a good fit for you and it's a good fit for me. It might not. It might not be a good fit, but it also might be a great fit. But we have a huge property value asset. We have a huge value proposition of what Matt and I are gonna bring for you for masterminds, coaching, group coaching, individual coaching, connections, products, education, all kinds of stuff. So come on over. Let's book 30 minutes. Bookmcdaniel.com. Let's see if it's the right fit for you. Matt, back to you.
All right. For the show, make sure to subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you happen to hang out and listen to podcasts or watch videos. We are there. You can always go to reuncensored.com for the show itself. We are getting ready to release a page and a video that'll kind of give you an idea a little bit more about our team and all the benefits and things like that Greg mentioned. So that is coming. We've recorded a couple of things that we're about to release on that. And we appreciate everybody sharing the show, leaving us a review and a rating on iTunes, a 5-star rating, of course. Make sure that if you do that, you shout out the guest that you enjoyed and publicly thank them for giving their time and paying it forward and giving away of their knowledge and expertise freely, like guys like Jay do on the show. We've got Amy Broghammer's coming up on Wednesday. She's going to be awesome, talking about right-sizing your business. So we've got a bunch of stuff to get into with her. And with that said, Greg, why don't we put a nice red bow upon this episode?
Red bow it is. All right, guys, we love you. Jay, we love you, man. You and your company are fantastic. You guys bring tremendous value to the real estate business. So thank you for helping us not be ourselves. Guys, we love you. So keep sharing this. Keep pushing it back out. Please let more people know about our show so we can help more people live the life of their dreams. And that's about it. So until next time, guys, peace out, ninjas.